thank everybody for tuning to a special edition Steelers pre-snap. I'm Luther Dupree. Got the Hall of Famer Claudio Rosano joining me. Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Famer, but Smokin Jim Frazier's joining us as well by phone. What's going on, fellas?
What's
Steelers
going
took
on?
a
Nice Thanksgiving.
I took a loss on this Browns game. I thought the Steelers would be able to get them, but they didn't show up. The offense didn't show up. But we did get one good thing that came out of it. There's a change at offensive coordinator. Mike Canada has been fired. Is it too late? But we'll talk about it a little bit today. I've been calling for it. I thought Warren was going to get more carries. He only got 9 carries. I wish he would have got a few more. But he is explosive, a 72-yard touchdown run. But, Jim, you're the only one on the panel who called the Browns victory. You were way off on score, but you did call for that the Browns were going to win. Your thoughts on it, Smokin Jim?
Yeah, thanks, Lou. I appreciate the accolades and Claudio. Football's a very simple game, man. I tell you what, I like the way the Pittsburgh Steelers play. But it's simple because all you got to do is go with the hot hand. Jaylen Warren was having a career game. Cleveland just couldn't stop that guy. It was his day. There's no reason you don't give him. If you give him more carries or throw the ball to him more, you win the game. It reminded me of 1970. The Steelers was playing the Philadelphia Eagles in their all white uniforms with black stripes. First play of the game, Cincy Bengals went 75 yards for a touchdown. The next time he got the ball, he went 85 yards for a touchdown. At halftime, he had 190 yards. The NFL record at the time was Jim Brown, 232 yards. Everybody thought he was going to break it. And he ended up with very few carries in the second half and ended up with 218 yards, and the Steelers lost. So all you got to do is just beat the hot hand. Cincy was hot that day. Jaylen Warren was hot last week, and the Steelers took the ball out of his hand.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely would have liked to see him get more carries. Claudia, your thoughts on the game? You, just like me, thought they would, get the victory, but your thoughts?
I had Cleveland 22, Pittsburgh 19. So I was off. I was off on the score. I agree with Jim 1,000%. You go with the hot hand. We're going to get to Canada. I know the thing I didn't like about Canada was he didn't create a rhythm. If you have a hot hand, especially with a team with poor offensive numbers like the Steelers, you go with it. They say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that's one of my criticisms of coaches all throughout football is they try to get a little too cute. Okay, Warren's working, let him go. What's Tomlin said? Let him be the cowbell or whatever it is. But I Pickett was off. Even on some catches, his receivers had to make great catches. It just wasn't a good game. I give Cleveland Stefanski. I'm not a big fan of his, but towards the end of the game, the play calling was a little better. But the Steelers should have won that game. That was a huge game for them. They should have won. They didn't. I'm going to blame the coaching staff and their game plan, and then some of the players' attitudes, which may have stemmed from the coaches, but I'll get to that in my huddle up.
All right. Yeah. My thoughts on it. I was disappointed, like you guys are both saying. I didn't like a lot of the play calls towards the end of the game. I thought the offensive game plan was horrible. We know Cleveland has an excellent defense. I mean, one of the best defenses I've seen. Myles Garrett is up for Player of the Year, but I still think there were opportunities, and they didn't take advantage of it. The defense had a chance to stop it at the end of the game. They let a rookie go down and get the winning field goal. Very disappointed. Heartbreaking, crushing loss. They could have gone up 7-3, instead dropped to 6-4, which makes this game all the more important. It's a must-win pretty much from here on out. They're right in the mix of maybe missing the playoffs or getting in. They got to stack some victories again. Be a very disappointing loss. I mean, I was really upset that they lost. But, it happens. They got to bounce back. Kenny Pickett, 106 yards passing was very bad, very poor. I would have liked to see Warren get the ball a lot more. He's just explosive. Without him, they get shut out that entire game. Um, but let's go to our Claudio. What's your huddle up? What do you have for us?
Lot to say here. First of all, to kind of what Jim was talking about, an old game. Yesterday, I just found on YouTube the Steelers against the Colts, 1978, December 9th, I believe. Ton of snow on the ground. The Steelers had Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris, had a few carries. Bradshaw's going deep. He went the 30-yard pass pattern to Franco in the end zone. Okay. So in the era where it's known for ground and pound, it wasn't. Those guys threw the ball back then. Then you say, well, they had the receivers. Well, you got receivers now too. But the play calling was much better back then. The style of play was much more exciting. Somebody told me the other day that my daughter's boyfriend told me that Tom Brady said that the NFL is mediocre. And I think Aaron Rodgers said the same thing. And what have I been saying? The mediocre football league. And I blame the offensive coordinators are horrendous. Now Matt Canada being fired. I didn't like his play calling. I didn't like the fact that if there was a hot hand, he didn't keep that hot hand. There was no signature on the offense. Now he's gone. Terrific. Is that going to make Kenny Pickett better than a 60% percentage in passing? No. He's throwing 5-yard patterns, 4-yard patterns, and he's missing and he's inaccurate. He's making guys have to make circus catches after a 4-yard pattern. No. Is it going to give him a stronger arm? No. Is it going to give him bigger hands? No. Is it going to keep him not happy feet and panicky in the pocket? No. He can study. His hair can be as long as you want. You can say he has swag, which I never said he had swag. I always said he was a second round, third round pick. He's not a good starting quarterback. He's now. I said he was okay. I may be wrong in that. Everybody went crazy about Kenny Pickett. I did not. I told you he's not. I don't care who the North Turner or my opinion, Mike Martz of the St. Louis Rams was maybe the best offensive coordinator that I ever saw. Not head coach, offensive coordinator. What's he going to do with Kenny Pickett? Nothing. So the new guy, and real quick, I blame Tomlin. If I'm the head coach and the offensive coordinator is throwing 3-yard patterns, 1-yard pattern, not going with the hot hand, I say, hey, Warren's hot. Give him the ball. You're the head coach. You're the head coach. Yeah, he's the offensive coordinator, but tell him, go dig in that bag of yours and let's go more vertical. Let's give the ball to Warren. He's the head coach. He's the boss. If he doesn't like it, he's got the headphones on. Okay, just tell him this is what I want. Maybe this is what your game plan is. I'm the coach. This is what I want. Do it. He didn't do it. So, and the last thing, Deontay Johnson fighting with coaches and all that kind of stuff. I've said it numerous times. There's no way in hell I would have taken that. Okay, and Pickens bitching and moaning all the time. Tomlin has to get on these guys. Tell them this is the way it's going to be. I'm the captain of the ship. If you don't adhere to our game plan, and not only game plan, but our attitude as a team, then get the hell out. Simple as that. But I don't see that happening.
All right, Claudio. Smokin Jim, what do you have for us?
Well, Lou, I appreciate this is really the first year in the last 20 years that you gave me credit for all the things that I say that's correct.
That's
at the beginning of the season, you had us evaluate quarterbacks. I said the number 32 quarterback in the NFL, and he'll be 32 as long as he's playing in the NFL, was Bryce Young. I said 31 was Kenny Pickett, and I was right there.
Kenny Pickett.
I also said that Jordan Love would make everybody forget about Aaron Rodgers, and he started. They won in Detroit, and I'm sure you have to be impressed with him, Luther, even though you weren't impressed with him prior to them playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that you see the magic now. My number one quarterback coming into the league was, Mahomes. My number two quarterback, and I took a lot of heat, but I'm not taking any heat lately, and I haven't gotten a pat on the back for my number two quarterback. I said the second best quarterback in the NFL is Russell Wilson. Did he turn it around this year? 19 touchdown passes, only 4 interceptions on a 4 or 5 game winning streak right now, and he may help us out today if he has a victory against the Cleveland Browns. And that's the first and 10 with Smokin Jim.
All right. Well, I have given you some credit, Jim. More than once in 20 years. That's a little much, Jim. Come on now. But a good call. And Russell Wilson, we'll see. He's playing a lot better. We'll see if he can keep it going because early in the year he was under heat, under fire. People saying he didn't have it. So we'll see. All right. Here's my thoughts, guys. And I've had this talk with numerous people. Talent or coaching, which is more important? I've always said talent is more important than coaching. Coaching gets you over the hump, but if you don't have the horses, you're not going to win. And I think right now what we're looking at with the Steelers, they have a few horses, but do they really have a lot of talent? As you look at all the games over the last 2, I think you got to give a lot more credit to Mike Tomlin. We don't have the greatest talent. Quarterback position is questionable right now. Running back, Najee's not what I thought he would be, or Claudio hypes him up to be. I think Jaylen Warren should be taking his job. Wide receiver, a lot of hype has been made about those guys. Deontay, he's back to complaining. Now he's trying to fight coaches. The man hasn't had a touchdown in 2 years. Come on, focus on getting into the end zone than fighting these daggone coaches. But I think they still have enough because they have a great coach, despite what Claudio and Smokin Jim say about Tomlin. I think he is a very good coach, and I think he can guide them to the playoffs. Now, what they do in the playoffs, I'm not sure. But their schedule, I looked at it, it's kind of favorable. They play a lot of some backup quarterbacks, but we thought that last week. So we'll see. But I always say talent is more important than coaching. Give me talent, and you can get the job done. Great coach with no talent, you're still going to struggle. Look at Bill Belichick right now. When he had Brady, he had Gronkowski. He was Hall of Fame, 7 Pro Bowls, and he had a little help, a little cheating a little bit, but he had the players. Now he doesn't have the players. He has Mac Jones, and now he's looking like New England's ready to run him out of there because he doesn't have the horses. Comes in cycles. Their cycle was a very long time, and right now, they're rebounding. Now if they get a quarterback like a Caleb Williams, they could be back on top, but we'll see. But that's my thoughts. Talent beats coaching every time. All right, let's get into this game today. Starting with you, let's start with you, Smokin Jim. Looking at this, Steelers O versus the Bengals defense. Who has the advantage and why?
Welcome to the jungle. Hey, look here, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers got to go to Cincinnati. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense versus the Cincinnati Bengals defense. That's going to be very, very close, man. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Cincinnati Bengals defense.
Ooh. Okay, why?
Well, the Steelers got the 31st offense in National Football League. You want to know anything else? I mean, is there anything? I mean, you get a question in that?
Listen, okay. All right.
I mean, is that enough? We ain't got a long enough show for me to go into all the reasons why the Steelers are 31st.
All right, all right. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it.
I said slight. You're lucky I said slight.
All right, Smokin Jim. Claudio, who do you give the advantage to and why?
Jim was very common sense. I mean, there it is for you. But the only thing is this. The new offensive coordinators for the Steelers, what does Cincinnati do well? They get a lot of turnovers, a lot of picks. What do they not do well? They don't stop the run really well. So what do? You run the ball. You have 2 backs, 3, including Pickett, 3 guys who can run the ball. It's that simple. If the Steelers run the ball, and I never ride the fence here, but I'll say this, if they run the ball, they will win. If Pickett has more than 20 throws, then they're going to lose. It's that simple. The hole is there. Like in baseball, if a guy can't hit an outside pitch, Luther, you're a baseball guy. Where do you throw him? On the outside part of the plate. Why the hell would you throw him middle in? Right? Steelers, Cincinnati can't run. They don't stop the run well. Run the ball. Simple as that. If they do that, then I give the Steelers offensive advantage. But if not, as Jim said, the Cincinnati defense will prevail.
All right, let's jump into the phone lines. All right, Jason Thomas said, y'all love blaming Tomlin for losses, but give him no credit for victory. Yeah, that's true. I give him credit for victory.
I didn't blame him for anything other than not getting on the players for lack of discipline and getting on the offensive coordinator. I don't like the plays that you're calling. Start doing X, Y, and Z. He didn't do it. I don't know. I'm not ripping. I'm just telling you what I see.
All right, Frank Jackson's in here. He said Canada wasn't the only problem. Pickett is absolutely trash.
Exactly.
You guys are tough. Hey, listen, I look at this Steelers offense. We know their rankings, but the Cincinnati Bengals are ranked number 30 in defense. They give up 361 yards a game. Listen, I'm going to give the slight advantage to the Steelers offense. I think they'll be able to run the ball like Claudio was saying. And, Kenny Pickett has to be smart with the ball. But I give a slight advantage. I think Warren and Harris can do enough to control the ball, get the ball in the end zone. And remember, since he has a backup quarterback, Tomlin, Watt, Highsmith, they should feast on this backup quarterback. So I'm giving a slight advantage to the Steelers O. All right, let's start with you, Claudio. Steelers D versus the Bengals offense.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I'd like to see the Steelers get 170. I said Pickett under 20 and under throws for 32 yards. And then the Steelers rushing 175 plus. And Deontay Johnson has argued with more coaches than he has touchdowns. Think about that.
That's true.
The defense, Browning but Steelers haven't done that great against some young quarterbacks. The game plan for me would be just to attack. Change up your defenses, confuse them, attack. Joe Mixon, they do have some receivers with Chase, Boyd, and Higgins. Can Browning hit them? Will he have time to hit them? And Joe Mixon's going to be a double threat out of the backfield, running the ball and catching the ball. Is it going to be enough? I think they have the weapons, but do they have the guy to hit those weapons in Browning? He didn't look half bad last week. With a week to prepare, maybe he'll be okay. And so I think the key for the Steelers defense is to stop Mixon and put the ball in Browning's hands. If that's the case, then you have to give the Steelers a slight advantage.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to jump in here, Smokin Jim. Listen, they got to watch out. I meant to say this. They on defense, they got to watch out for Logan Wilson. This man has put out Mark Andrews. He put out Lamar Jackson for playing Odell Beckham. The way he's tackling these guys, he's found a way to, and they're trying to change the way they're allowing tackling because he's been injuring so many guys over the last game. But they got to watch out for him. He's definitely a great player, but they're thinking he's using their legal tactics to take out some of these guys. All right, Steelers D versus the Bengals O. I'm not impressed with Browning. I think we'll be able to rattle him a little bit. TJ Watt, we're going to need him and Highsmith to have a great game. Get this guy uncomfortable, unlike what they did last week. They have to, really get after him. Not a lot of great mobility. I think they can, put some heat on him. T. Higgins is out. He has another injury. I just saw that he's out. He won't be playing. Tyler Boyd, he loves to show out against the Steelers. Look for him to have a big game. Jamar Chase, one of the best receivers in the league, even though he's not having a great season right now. You got to look out for him. He's very tough, very talented, and we don't have a defensive back that can completely shut him out yet. But I think Joey Porter's going to be matched up on him a lot. Should be a great matchup. He has the size to kind of make it difficult, and they have a young quarterback back there. So I think, if Minka was playing, I'd give a big advantage to the Steelers D. but we have backup linebackers, backup safeties. But I still give an advantage to the Steelers. I think we'll be able to make them uncomfortable and slow down Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon just enough for us to make something happen. Smokin Jim, what you have for us? What are your thoughts?
Well, again, Coach Claudio made a great point. The Steelers got a history of beating up on young quarterbacks, but that was when they had Dick LeBeau under Tomlin, when Tomlin took over. Rookie quarterbacks having a field day.
Stop that! You got Jordan Love, didn't, huh? Even last week, he didn't have a field day. Stop it.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cincinnati Bengals always had success with JP and quarterback Joe Burrow, now Jake Browning. I scouted Jake Browning at Washington, 12,000 yards, 94 touchdowns, and 4-year starter. He's incredible. This guy got great feet in the pocket. He can run. He's not a runner. Steelers should be able to get some sacks on him, but this guy can read defenses. He goes through his progressions. I'll tell you what, he's going to be a nightmare. Claudio will enjoy this. This guy is going to be, after the season, Scott Mitchell. When Dan Marino went down, Scott Mitchell stepped in. I tell you what, Cincinnati's not going to miss a beat with Jake Browning.
Stop.
This is a guy that I look for the weak link to have a good game today. Tyler Boyd. I think that Browning is a quarterback that goes over the middle of the field. Most quarterbacks today, it throws to the sideline, whether it's flare passes or deep down the side. He throws to the middle of the field. That's the advantage of Tyler Boyd, the weak link.
Stop saying that, Jim.
Offense. And I tell you what, Tyler's going to have a great game. I don't think that Tyler can take it all the way to the house. I've seen him get caught from behind and drop touchdown passes. That's always on the table, but I think he'll have a good game. And like Claudio said, Joe Mixon, he's going to be able to run. And I tell you what, Cincinnati with Jake Browning, I tell you what, I wish the Steelers would trade for him. This is a guy that you're going to be very impressed with, Luther, by the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you said that last week about the rookie.
Were you impressed?
No, he had one drive, Jim. Stop.
Oh, you weren't impressed with him?
No, not at all. And Jordan Love, I wasn't impressed with those 2 picks.
How about his leadership?
What? He had one drive. He had one drive, Jim.
Did you like the way? Did he look like he could be a future quarterback in your eyes?
He needs a. It looks like it looked like he needed a lot of work, Jim. That's what it looked like.
You sound like the white media.
I sound like a man who's not trying to make myself right after I got proven wrong again. He had one good drive. Outside of that, he made Pickett look. That might have been the worst display of quarterback play I've ever seen that game, Jim, and you know it. All right, stop. All right, let's jump to this. We got more. Who's this? Frank Jackson. I give the advantage to Steelers. Bengals D is trash. All right, Browning will make Pickett look like Montana tonight. He sucks. Wow, that's saying something. All right, I think I already talked about the Steelers D, how we can do that. All right, let's go.
I agree with Jim about Browning thrown in the middle. I think that's going to be a key to the game. But also, with Pickett and his 3-yard pass patterns, if you look at the Bengals, and forgive me for jumping in, you mentioned Logan Wilson. That reminded me. He has 3 picks, and Pratt has a couple picks, 2 or 3 picks. I think he has 2 linebackers, which means what? They cover that part of the field pretty good. Pickett throws to that part of the field. He has not thrown an interception in a long time. Okay, I think today you're going to see an interception from one of those linebackers, and it could be a key interception. But to Jim's point, again, over the middle for Browning, and don't forget, the Cincinnati cornerbacks aren't too bad with Britt, Hilton, and the other guy, Dax Hill.
Dax Hill.
So their defense, it's not the numbers aren't great, especially when it comes to the running game. But they're not bad. They're not bad.
All right. Well, I don't even know if I should start with Jim on this, but Jim, Tyler Boyd, sit or start him tonight?
I would start him.
I say start him too. He loves to try to have big games against the Steelers. He felt the Steelers should have drafted him, and I guess he thought they were, and they didn't. Claudio, sit or start Tyler Boyd tonight?
We start him.
You said start him?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Joe Mixon, sit or start him, Claudio?
Have to start him. He's going to be a double barrel range out of the backfield. He's going to run the ball. And he's going to catch the ball.
I say start him too. I think he can get 100 yards combined scrimmage yards, passing and receiving. I think he's a definite start. Smokin Jim, Joe Mixon, start or sit?
Start.
Okay. All right, let's jump over to the Steelers. New offensive coordinator. Let's see. How about Jalen Warren? You sit or start him, Smokin Jim?
Let me just clarify something. When I say that Tyler Boyd's the weak link,
Stop saying that.
No, I'm not. See, there you go, jumping in. It's not negative. He's the third receiver, and he's the fourth option behind Mixon. That's what I'm saying. He's the weak link.
That's not a weak link. That's the fourth option.
Pretty good. Well, if you got to go to your fourth option, 4 out of 4, you're the weak link.
That's not the weak link. That's not the weak link.
What do you call it?
The weak link is somebody you throw to you can't rely on. Tyler Boyd has had a number of 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Burrow has faith in him. Stop it, man. Stop.
Which Robinson on the Steelers? Which Robinson on the Steelers?
He's an older receiver. You'd rather have Allen Robinson than Tyler Boyd? No, you wouldn't.
Tyler Boyd. I'd rather have Tyler Boyd.
Okay, so that's not the weakest link.
But the fourth option is the fourth option.
So just call him the fourth option. Don't call him the weakest link, Jim. Come on, man.
Well, I'm just saying with the people.
No, you're trying to hate. You're trying to hate.
That's what they say.
No, you're trying to hate, Jim. Anyway, Jalen Warren. You are. You sit or start Jalen Warren? Start him? All right, I say start him as well. Hopefully he'll get more carries. Hopefully they focus on the running game. I say start him. Claudio, you start him.
Start him.
All right. And stand in that backfield, Najee Harris. You start him. That's your guy, Claudio.
If I'm going to say no. No, I mean, I would give him the ball more. You have 2 studs back there, in my opinion. I don't know if they'll utilize him properly enough today, so it's not a knock on Harris. I'm not giving up on him yet. It's more of a knock on the call, or if Warren's hot, you give him the ball. But I'm going to say no, don't start Harris.
Okay. All right, let's see.
I don't believe I got a shot at that one.
All right, Lorenzo put a link in there about the firing. Frank Jackson said, sit Harris, bench is slow behind. Frank doesn't like Najee. All right, Smokin Jim, your thoughts? Sit or start Najee?
Well, I'll just ask Claudio this. He don't have to answer, but if somebody that's number 8 in the lineup right before the pitcher, you would call him the weak link in the lineup, even if he bats 300. But I would say start Najee.
Yeah, I would say I think he can get you a touchdown, but if between Warren and Harris, I'd start Warren. But I think Najee can get a touchdown. I think he'll be in position to do that. We'll see. They love him there. All right, how about Freiermuth? He's back. Can he finally make an impact? Smokin Jim.
I would sit him.
I agree with that. Sit him. I'd sit all the receivers until I see more from Pickett. But Claudia, do you sit or start Freiermuth?
I trade him.
Trade him.
And Luke, to Jim's point, he's right about the number 8 hitter. Although without going into baseball stuff, I've in college where you have a DH, the pitcher that wasn't in the pros and the majors anymore too. The number 8 hitter has changed. Okay, for me, I always like the guy who can hit any pitch. Okay, because the number 9 hitter was the pitcher, and they're going to pitch around the 8 hitter. But in college ball, or since the DH, the 8 hitter has almost become like a second cleanup hitter, Jim. And I've noticed more and more over the past couple of years that the number 8 hitter, when he comes up, there's guys on base. But I do understand your point about the wink link. Back to Fryermuth again. No, I like Washington as the tight end, but they're not going to put him in.
I hear you. Yeah, I say sit him as well. Kenny Pickett. I already know what Claudio was going to say.
The all-time record for passing was Norm Van Brocklin with 554 yards in one game. Kenny Pickett won't get 500 yards in 6 games. So cut him, sit him, trade him, have him be a co-host on Steel City Sports World. No, don't do that. We're fun. No, you got to
yeah, swag, dude, Claudio.
Swag, all right. You got a lot of swag.
All right, Smokin Jim, sit or start Kenny Pickett.
Sit.
Yeah, I think I would sit him as well. I'm still holding out hope, but it's flickering right now. I mean, he's not shown enough. 106 yards. He's not getting better. I'd like to see more improvement. Maybe the change in offensive coordinators can help him. Something's got to give. All right, how about receiver? Smokin Jim, your favorite guy, George Pickens.
Again, I told you guys 2 years ago he could never play for me. He's a cancer. But if he's going to be on your football team, you got to play him. He's a freak. He's the freakiest receiver that come in the National Football League since Randy Moss. You got to play him.
Not saying since Randy Moss. Woo!
Freakiest since Randy Moss.
Wow. Okay, that's Smokin Jim saying that craziness. Claudio, sit or start George Pickens.
You're still hanging on the Pickett. I'm going to hang on to Harris. Who's going to have a better career? I'm asking. What do you think?
I've seen more signs in Harris.
Okay.
I'll agree with you on that. But he's been in the league a little bit longer. But Harris is about to lose his starting job, maybe within the next 2 games. Pickett still has a firm grasp on his, but he doesn't have anybody pushing him like Najee does. But yeah, I agree with you. Harris has shown more potential.
All right. Now, Jim makes a good point about Pickens. What I would have done, I would do it this week just to make a point. I'd sit Pickens. Okay, for if his attitude is still bad, I'd sit him against Cincinnati because you don't need receivers against Cincinnati. Okay, they're not going to do that. You definitely play Pickens.
It wasn't him who had the bad attitude last week. It was Johnson.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. All right.
You have to tell people who's in charge. Period. End of story. And if you don't, okay, there's an old Italian saying about soft dirt, hard dirt. You get a shovel and you dig into cement, you're going to do it 1 time. If you're dumb, you'll do it twice. Soft dirt, you'll keep digging, and digging. Okay. If a player sees that he can get away with it, he's going to keep getting away with it. I saw yesterday something, Luke, that I forgot about when Robert Ory threw a towel in Danny Ainge's face with the Phoenix Suns when Danny Ainge was the head coach. And Danny Ainge didn't do a damn thing about it. They traded him the next day. I'd have lost my ass. I'd have lost my mind. I don't give a damn how big Ory is. You cannot allow that. Okay, I'm not saying it was that bad, but if
would you have hit him, Claudio?
Went after his, I can swear to God on that.
I know you would have. Yeah, Danny Ainge. Woo, yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. Yeah,
he should be. But anyway, forgive me. Pickens is a talent and a half. Don't waste your career, Mr. Pickens. You're a stud and a half. Straighten things out now, okay? Because you can be like Jim. Jim mentioned Pickens in the same name as Moss. Moss is a great player. Okay, Pickens has unbelievable talent. Don't waste it. And I do understand him being a little upset with not getting more targets. I get that. But a great receiver who was, in my opinion, a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest receivers I've ever seen, Harold Jackson with the LA Rams, they ran the ball like crazy. He never once bitched about not getting the ball. Okay? I'm not saying don't approach the coaches. And yes, out of the game, say, look, I can get open. I'm a talented player. Use me. That's different. But I play him. He's going to be the number 1 receiver, I would think.
Yeah, I say play him as well. I think, one little 5-yard catch can turn into a 60-yard touchdown with him. I would play him. He was at Tomlin's house for Thanksgiving. They had a meal. I saw a nice picture of him and Tomlin and Jones. So I look for him to have a big game today. It's time. Maybe now the new offensive coordinators, they're going to find ways to get certain players the ball in positions they like. Give Pickens what he wants. He wants at least a couple deep balls a game. Calvin Austin as well. That definitely needs to happen. All right, let's get your final score, Smokin Jim.
Well, let me just say this. Here's a guy that's cancer in your locker room. He went out and trashed your team on Twitter. He blocked his
You don't even have Twitter, Jim.
He unfriended Kenny Pickett, and then you invite him to your house for Thanksgiving dinner to be around your daughter, him and Jones. I tell you what, man. Canada's not the only problem. Mediocre Mike is also. Listen, I think the score in the game, and another thing, Claudio and Luther, how come Larry Zonka, Jim Kick, and Mercury Morris never had a problem? You guys want to bench Najee? They're both good backs. You need two backs. It's a blessing to have two backs, but the score is Cincinnati Bengals 37, Pittsburgh Steelers 17.
Oh, Jim, you just like being way off with them scores, man. That's disgusting. All right, Claudio, what you got for us?
Jim makes a lot of great points.
No, he doesn't.
These stuff, and you invite him over Thanksgiving. If you invite him over to talk to him about it and say, look, we can't have this anymore, then great move. If not, you're rewarding somebody for being disrespectful, and I don't like that. But I do understand Jim's point. The score, I say Cincinnati 71, Pittsburgh 68. We're talking about football, not basketball. Okay. You know what?
A Jim score.
Jim score. You know what? This is a really hard game for me to pick. And I don't like riding the fence. 1 minute I got Pittsburgh up 19. Oh, I should say Boswell 19, Cincinnati 15. Then I have Cincinnati winning pretty much. Cincinnati 19, Boswell 15. But I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with Boswell 19, Cincinnati 15, only because I think Pittsburgh needs the game more. I think that they'll turn it up. So I'll go with Boswell 19, Cincinnati 15.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to go with a score. I think the Steelers will be able to make enough plays through the run game, low-scoring game again, young quarterback for the Bengals. They're not losing to two young quarterbacks back-to-back. I think he's good for one turnover. Watt and Highsmith have been very quiet for a couple games. Look for them to wake up this game. I got a low-scoring game, 17-10 Steelers. Let's jump into these comments real quick. We got Jason, he says, sit Freer move. Jason's back. Sit Dropston, too busy fighting with coaches. Frank says, sit Pickett for the year. Jackson's back. 27-10 Steelers. Jason Thomas, 35-20 Steelers. All right. And Jason's back. Proves Tomlin has love for Pickens. I guess so. I mean, he can make some great plays. Real quick, as we wrap up, do you see any changes with this offense? You think they can get Pickett going? Smokin Jim with this change?
I would say you're already starting off with the worst offensive coordinator in history of football, Faulkner, and then you double down on that by having a quarterback coach, a former offensive coordinator of the Giants that couldn't handle the job, calling the plays. So, I mean, I don't understand what they're doing down there, Luther. Honest to goodness. So, no, I don't see. I see Pickett continually egress.
All right, but listen, I hear what you're saying, but do you think it's too late to bring in, let's say, a Byron Leftwich who's out of the league? Do you think it's too late to bring in someone like that to change the offense completely? You kind of pretty much
Well,
have to keep the same lingo, the same concepts. I would think it would be kind of late to bring somebody in like that.
well, the best thing that ever happened to Byron Leftwich was when they was carrying him like he had a broken leg and Mark
Oh,
from play to
he's a
play.
great offensive coordinator. He should have took the Jacksonville job. You know it.
That's why he got fired.
He got fired because Tom Brady was terrible and should have retired the year before. Stop it, Jim.
He got fired after Tom Brady left. He got fired the year after Tom Brady.
Yeah, but it started when Brady was there and was looking pretty bad, Jim.
When Brady won the Super Bowl without an offensive coordinator.
It was Byron Leftwich. Byron Leftwich, and Brady gave him credit plenty of times, Jim. All right, Jim.
Leftwich was great for Bruce Arians, just like Bieniemy was great for Andy Reid.
Well, it looks like Kansas City misses Eric Bieniemy, like I said they would. You know, it was a bad move for him to go to Washington, but look at Kansas City's offense now. It looks worse. How many seconds have they gone without scoring a touchdown? Never thought I'd see that in the Patrick Mahomes era. Put some credit on Eric Bieniemy's name, Jim. Anyway, Claudio, do you think we see much of a change with this coordinator switch?
Point about Bieniemy, Luther. You know what? If I'm the new offensive coordinators, I'm auditioning for next year because Byron Leftwich is at the door. So if I do well now, I got the job next year. So I'm going to say this: the plays are still the plays, but I guarantee you, okay, that there are some vertical plays in the book, in the playbook. So utilize them. The terminology is still going to be the same, but again, I guarantee you there are some deeper patterns in that playbook. So I think he's going to use them. As a matter of fact, what I would do, the first play of the game, play action, go deep to Pickens right off the bat and show everybody who the hell you are as a coach. And now the team says, now we're going to be an explosive offense. I don't think they have the horse. I didn't say horses. They have the receivers. They don't have the horse in Pickett to do that. But give it a damn shot. It's not working right now. But you do have some vertical plays in that, in your playbook. Utilize them, because on the selfish side of it, you say to yourself, as an offensive coordinator, I want this job next year. I can do the job better than Canada did. I was respectful to Canada, but now I'm the dog. I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity and show Tomlin, show the players, show Rooney, show the fans that I belong here. Forget about Byron Leftwich. I want this job. So go out and earn it.
I like that. I hope, like you said, I hope we do see some more vertical. Quit these 3-yard and out patterns when it's 3rd and 7. I'm tired of that. Something has to give. We'll see if they make those changes. Go ahead, Jim. Cut me off, Jim. What?
Pittsburgh Steelers got more black coaches than any other team in the NFL, and they all seem to know their place.
What does that mean, Jim? What does that even mean? I don't want to hear that, Jim. Listen, man, we'll see what they have to offer. But again, I'm going with a victory back in the winning column against a very injured Bengals team. They've turned into the Bungles this year. They have not been able to protect Joe Burrow for actually his whole career. So I think we'll really be able to make life tough for Browning back there. That offensive line is still very, very poor. We have to put pressure on him, get some turnovers. I see it as, like I said, another victory. Hey, but guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Jason, Frank, Lorenzo, thank all you guys. Claudio, Smokin Jim, as always, it's a pleasure. Can't wait to do this with you guys again. Looking forward to the boxing authorities this week as well. All right, guys. Check you out next time. Peace.
Hey, Luth.